Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Sri Prabhupada. We'll start with brief prayers. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunvritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sopatantiham Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pathan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी पुष्पानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रियं वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome everyone for this session about the overview of the chapter 2. Many of you are reading regularly every day Bhagavad Gita. We are almost close to finishing the chapter 2. We'll finish it tomorrow with the last verse, I believe. So this will be, we are doing a monthly session. Mostly it's on fourth Saturday, last Saturday, Thursday of month, last Thursday of the month. But this time because there's a festival, we moved it to today. So it'll be brief summary with practical applications in our life that we'll go through. Let me share my screen with the presentation. Okay. Let me see. Oh, not this. I wanted to go to the. Okay. Okay. This is the chapter 2 overview. I say, because we all read this section already, it's good to get a high level picture of the whole chapter and then go through some of the essences. Not every verse we cannot elaborate. Some essences and some practical going take home points like that. What are the lessons we can use in our life? That's what we'll discuss now. So, as you can see in the chapter 1, Arjuna in the battlefield asked bunch of questions. He expressed some of the doubts that he has, whether he should fight or whether he should not fight. He was in confusion, more or less. Then finally, in this chapter, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna with that confusion. So that is the first section where Arjuna expresses, I am not able to understand what is the right thing to do. Krishna, I surrender to you as your disciple. Please guide me. What is the right thing to do, like that? Then Krishna immediately gives the knowledge about the soul or gnana, tells him soul is eternal. We'll go into detail for all of this. Soul is very eternal. That means it never dies. And he describes different characteristics of the soul. And then he says body can never be saved, like that. And at that level, he gives the confidence that he should fight. Then he talks about very basic karmakanda level in Vedic culture and Vedic scriptures. He says, actually by doing prescribed duties, you will get material enjoyment. So if you win the war, you can enjoy the kingdom here. If you lose the war and if you die in the battlefield, you go to heaven and enjoy there. On the contrary, let us say you don't fight, then what happens? Because you're not doing your prescribed duties, you'll incur sinful reactions. Not only that, you'll become infamous. You'll not be famous. Your reputation as a great soldier, great warrior will go down. And not only that, everybody will speak ill about you. Oh, see, he ran away from the battlefield, like that. They'll not think you're compassionate and you left the battlefield. That is a very basic level Krishna is saying. So now, beyond that, Krishna talks about how we need to do our duties in terms of without expecting results, with a detachment towards results. Not that without having goals, but without attachment to results. I'll explain that. So then he says, if you have the knowledge, right knowledge, and work with detachment from the fruits of the work, then that is the best thing to do, he says. And then Arjuna asks some questions to Krishna. So, how does such a person who's fixed in Krishna consciousness speak? How does he walk? How does he talk? Like that he talks about. How does he sit? Like that he talks. Then Krishna describes the characteristics of a sthita prajna, or a person situated with material detachment and situated in buddhi yoga, like that he describes. This chapter, if you notice, the title itself is Contents of the Gita summarized. Why is this title so? Because this chapter, as you could see just now itself, has karma kanda, it describes some jnana yoga, it describes some buddhi yoga, it describes essentially some bhakti element also is there, like that. So because of this chapter is titled Contents of Gita summarized. So now we got a broad brush overview of different sections in Bhagavad Gita now in this particular chapter, right? So we'll go into a little bit more detail now. So notice this is not a verse by verse explanation. So I'm trying to give you an overview of the chapter and how we can practically take lessons to apply in our own life. So this is about how do we decide the right thing to do? And after deciding the right thing to do, how do we go about doing it without getting disturbed by anything, distractions that come with in our life? So chapter 2 is addressing the fundamental universal human question. What is the right thing to do? And Arjuna, and for example, for us, let us say I'm a student studying in the college. Then I know I need to study the first semester, second semester, third semester, like that. The path is fixed. And if somebody is doing office work, he knows what he needs to do, like that. It goes to next level, like that. But if, for example, let us say I admit to an office uh, by an employer, and then this is my first day on the job, and they don't tell me what is my title, they don't tell me what is my role, they don't tell me what is my job description. Then let us say, it's not very common to do that, let us say, then I go into the office and I don't know what to do. They'll say, I'm an engineer, I'm a finance person, I'm a marketing person, I'm a HR person, I don't know anything. Now they'll say, you figure out your role and do what you want. Then that will be pretty confusing, isn't it? So basically, the point is, unless we know little bit about our identity, we cannot figure out what to do, what is our duty to do, what is the right thing to do, like that. Similarly, Arjuna was in a confusion. Like when we go, let us say I'm traveling on a road, on a straight road, then I can keep on going. There's nothing stopping me from going. There's no decisions I need to make, ideally on a simple road where nobody is there, for example. But let us say I'm going to come to an intersection that has a left turn, right turn, and I can go straight also. Then I'll stop. I need to pause. What is my goal? What is that I'm supposed to do? So which direction if I go, I will go to my goal, like that, right? Similarly, Arjuna was confused because of the two identities he has. One identity, he is a Kshatriya. Kshatriya duty is to fight in the battlefield. That is the Kshatriya Dharma. That is one duty. Now, another Dharma he has is a Kula Dharma. Kula Dharma means is part of the Kuru dynasty. As part of the Kuru dynasty, he's supposed to respect elders, and give honor and respect to teachers, grandfathers, and take care of brothers, like that. So that is a Kula Dharma. So now, as per the Kshatriya Dharma, is supposed to fight one, but then if he fights, he will kill other side, and this side people also will die because he's fighting now. So that is a one problem with the following the Kshatriya Dharma. Another problem with following Kshatriya Dharma is, and the other duty is Kula Dharma. Now, if he adheres to this Kshatriya Dharma, now he fights, he actually has to fight with his own teacher, his own grandfather, his own relatives. He has to kill them like that in the process of fighting. So now, whether to fight is a real duty of Kshatriya, but if you fight, it is violating the Kuladharma also. Now he's confused. What should I do at this crossroad like that? So that is the confusion Arjuna expressed throughout the first chapter, and he concludes in the second chapter also with the indecision. We'll see the 5 reasons Arjuna gave in the first chapter and the last reason in second chapter, and how did Krishna address them progressively in the coming up slide. But this view I'm taking of the whole summary of second chapter to help us apply this knowledge in our life based on how Krishna guided Arjuna like that. Yeah. So now Arjuna is confused because of the two duties. Now Krishna immediately, as soon as Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, saying that I am your disciple, please guide me. I'm not able to figure out myself, even though I have great scholarship, even though I know so many things already, but still I cannot figure out what is the right thing to do now. Please tell me like that. Now Krishna immediately focused on our identity, because when we want to know what we need to do, we need to know what is our identity. Remember in the example of I said, when I go to job, if I know I'm a marketing person, then I know I need to do marketing. If I know I'm a HR person, I need to do HR functions. If I know I'm an engineer, I do engineering functions. Similarly, we need to understand who we are, and then we can decide what to do. But apparently, Arjuna already understood he's a Kshatriya. Arjuna already understood he's a part of a Kuru dynasty. He already understood that, but still is in confusion. So now, what is important is these external identities we have are called functional identities. That means I'm a father, I'm an architect, I am a husband, I'm a son, I am a colleague, I'm a devotee, practicing devotee. Like that, we have different identities at a functional level. Now, if we don't know something deeper, what we are as a fundamental identity as a soul, then these functional identities may shake us up. So that's why Krishna is going down to the fundamental identity as a spirit soul. So one example Chaitanya Charan Prabhu describes nicely. He says, he was giving an example at some time back, if you remember, there was a tsunami that came. So when tsunami comes, ocean water goes all the way beyond the regular shore, and then it wiped away large part of the land, wiping away homes nearby. People are disturbed. Any things that are there on the way will go away like that in the flood kind of thing with tsunami, right? So now one gentleman was actually, just before tsunami came, he went scuba diving all the way inside the ocean, it seems, deep inside the ocean. Now, while he's deep inside the ocean, tsunami came and gone. Now, after scuba diving, he came up and he saw, what? I can't see the shore I'm used to see. I can't see the usual homes I used to see. I can't see anything nearby. So, what Chetan Charan was describing here is, the tsunami happened at the surface of the ocean, whereas the scuba diver went deep inside the ocean. So that is why, by being deep inside the ocean, he was not affected by tsunami. Similarly, when we are staying at the functional identity level, that is like staying on top of the ocean. But when we are understanding and realizing our fundamental identity of spirit soul, that's like staying deep in the ocean. So whatever tsunami happens at the fundamental functional identity level doesn't disturb us anymore, because we situated at the fundamental identity as spirit soul. That's why Krishna is starting there. And then he describes how the spirit soul uh, one of the symptoms is consciousness. He describes different symptoms and characteristics of the spirit soul. How is it indestructible? How nobody can cause any harm to the spirit soul, because spirit soul is immovable. It cannot be burned. It cannot be withered by the wind. It cannot be. It can be moistened by water. Like that whole bunch of characteristics he gives. describing the eternality of the soul and indestructibility of the soul. Why is that important? When we understand that deeply and realize deeply that we are spirit soul, we are part and parcel of the God, then what happens is all the other things that attack the external body, that affect the external body, that affect the mind, or that affect the external functional identities we have as an employee, as a father, as a husband, as a son, whatever is affecting the fundamental identity, functional identities will not affect us anymore, or will not affect as deeply anymore. We'll talk more about that aspects also towards the end of the chapter, what Krishna tells about that aspect also. How to remain unaffected by disturbances that come in our life, how to remain tolerant, and how to remain stable in spite of anything that is happening outside. So that is how Krishna starts the knowledge of the Gnana or Sankhya, which is identity as a spirit soul, like that. Then somebody met, then after that, after establishing the identity as spirit soul, that means we're not this external body that we think we are, but we are more than that. We are a spirit soul. That's what is established by Krishna now. So now, after establishing the identity of spirit soul, now Krishna pursues Arjuna. I'm giving a high level overview. Krishna pursues Arjuna to indicate why he should do his duty as fighting, and then with what consciousness, what knowledge you should do the duty as of fighting, like that. So in pursuance of that, the same knowledge as eternal soul can be applied in multiple levels. So he applies at the first level. He says, you need to fight, because if you win, you'll get a kingdom on earth. But if you lose and die, you can go to heavenly planet, because you're doing your duty nicely. So that's that one level he's telling, almost at karma kanda level, like that. So basic karma yoga level. So that is to fight, and is giving, and this is based on the knowledge of soul. Why? Because only if I know I'm a soul, then I know there is a next birth also potentially. So that means in next life I can go to heaven if I die, like that. Krishna could not have given this knowledge before he established that we are a spirit soul, like that. So that is the first level of knowledge Krishna gives. Then Krishna gives, interestingly, next level of knowledge. He says, don't just act for getting a kingdom, that is a fruit, or don't just act for getting a heaven, that's also a fruit. You should work for something bigger than fruit, he says. This can be understood by a couple of simple examples Chaitanya Charan Prabhu gives. One example is a student, he can just study to get marks in the exam. That is one level of study. Next level is he can study to master the subject matter, to learn the subject matter. And by trying to learn the subject matter properly, he will score good marks anyway. So that means scoring good marks is included in the higher goal that he has beyond the marks. Then similarly, another student may study to develop educated mind. So that way, not only is learning this subject, now he can learn any subject in the future also, because he's developing the study practices, he's developing the foundations of the subject that he's learning. So he can learn any other subject also. That means learning is, what he's learning is how to develop that educated mind, like that. Similarly, here Krishna described not only fight to get heaven or enjoyment in this world, but he's saying fight to elevate our consciousness. So to understand this principle, we can discuss one more point. Basically, every action we do has an external effect or external result that comes into. But then there's an internal reaction also that's happening. Like with the study example, one result is marks are coming externally. Internally, it's making me uh, develop the study mindset, develop sincerity and discipline towards study, like that. So similarly, when when somebody takes drugs or intoxication or alcohol, for example, externally they get some physical reaction. For example, somebody takes drugs, they may be intoxicated, they cannot figure out what is going on around them for some time. Number one, external reaction. Internally, they're developing that habit of taking drugs now. So that become addiction like that. Similarly, when we do uh, something for a higher purpose, something with detachment, something not just for getting the results, but something with a spiritual consciousness, with a spiritual purpose, uh, then we are actually elevating our consciousness to a higher level. That's the other teaching Krishna gives. This section is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. We'll see this section in another way also. So the point is, when we are in this spirit of not just getting the result while working, but elevating our consciousness through the process, then even if the result doesn't come immediately, even the external circumstance is not favorable, even we are feeling a lot of suffering in our life with the external circumstances, we can still be peaceful in our life because we are striving for something bigger than the result. So even when we fail in something, our consciousness can be higher, that we can learn from it. We can grow in that consciousness like that. In fact, life situations, like we discussed in the last class, life situations help us to learn. So we're not meant to leave the problems. We're meant to learn from the problems. That's what we heard from the chapter 1 last session, last month. So this is talking about how to evolve like that spiritually. So now, after hearing this, Krishna describing to Arjuna that how we should elevate our consciousness by fixing in knowledge and by acting for something beyond knowledge, beyond results, he describes. Now, when Krishna describes we should work for something beyond results, what does it mean? That means don't we should not have a goal? We should not aim to get promotion in our office? It is not that. It's not. He's not saying we should not strive for any goals. We can have goals, but our main, we should have a higher purpose in life that is guiding us. So then we should strive to that higher purpose. Then even if the goal is not achieved, our goal is not received in a way we think we are, still we can elevate our consciousness towards the higher purpose like that. Then when Krishna describes a self-realized person or sthita prajna, how is not disturbed with anything, is focused on with detachment, he'll work towards anything like that. Then Arjuna has a doubt. Arjuna asks a doubt saying that, like, can you tell me how does he walk? How does he sit? How does he talk? Somebody may think, why in a book, philosophical book with poetry like Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking how does a person sit? How does it help anyway? How does it speak? How does it help like that? Actually, Bhagavad Gita being a book of poetry, it's a metaphorical also. So when Arjuna is asking how does this Sthita Prajna or self-realized person walk, he's asking how does he function in the world like that. And then when he's asking how does he sit, he's talking about when something provocative situation comes, when senses gratification options come, opportunities come, how does he restrain his senses? That's what he's asking when he asks how does he sit. Then when he's asking how does he talk or how does he speak, then he's asking when life situations come, how does he respond to them like that. So those are the questions that Arjuna asks. In fact, after the beginning of the chapter, these are the questions Arjuna asks. Rest of the chapter, Krishna is only speaking. Then Krishna starts to describe the characteristics of a self-realized person. Then he gives many things. We'll focus on one of them, which is very important because many people struggle with this one thing. That one thing is when something happens in our life, when something suddenly happens, some sudden disturbance comes in our life, how do we not react to it? How do we properly pause, think about it, and carefully respond? How do we do that? Many people ask this question. So to do that, Krishna is explaining here nicely. So he describes with an analogy of a rivers, how they're merging into an ocean. We know ocean is very vast and very deep. Whether in rainy season, lots of rivers water comes into ocean. Ocean doesn't become too big and go away, occupy a whole world, nothing like that. And in the summer season, when rivers water is very little coming into the ocean, still it doesn't shrink into a small puddle or anything like that. So with this analogy, Krishna is describing how a sthita prajna or a devotee's consciousness is like a ocean, big like ocean. So let's understand the analogy a little bit more. Let us say if there is a small puddle of water, if some disturbance comes in the puddle of water, then it will be it can even wipe away. Puddle can be wiped away with some disturbance, or it can be disturbed everywhere. But if somebody throws a ocean in ocean, nothing much will happen. It will still stay the same place like that, right? So similarly, if our consciousness is small, then the consciousness is like a puddle. If our consciousness is big, is like a ocean. So if your consciousness is small, will be irritated, disturbed with every small thing that is happening in our life. So we might have seen some people, let us say, we tell them, uh, why did you do like this, Prabhu? You say, oh, you're finding faults with me? You were teaching me what to do? Like that they'll come across. So suddenly, that is because their consciousness currently is not able to handle small disturbance also. Whereas Sthita Prajna is such a person, self-realized person, consciousness is big that even some difficulties come, he can tolerate them. He's not irritated. He's not uh, stressed out. He's not distressed with every small thing in life. So they don't go into distress, anxiety with every small thing in life like that. They can handle it. So if we are not in that position right now, that means we have some way to go by practicing the principles of bhakti that are taught in Bhagavad Gita. By practicing that, we can increase our consciousness to big from small. What does this big and small consciousness means? So if my consciousness is attached to small things, I want to enjoy by being the nice person. I want to enjoy by being known as a kind person. I want to enjoy by everybody treating me nicely. That is my small consciousness like that. But if my consciousness is fixed on Supreme Lord, the God, then my consciousness can become big like that. So that in one sense, Bhagavad Gita is a book that is expanding our consciousness by giving us the principles and practices, how to practice Bhakti Yoga to expand our consciousness like that. So that is what Krishna describes with this analogy or metaphor, describing how self-realized person can be fixed in his goal, in his purpose, irrespective of whatever coming in his way in his life like that. So actually by practicing Krishna consciousness, we can develop that one-pointed determination by fixing ourselves in service to Krishna. That way, we are not disturbed by ordinary circumstances while doing the activity. So we discussed so far how we can determine the right thing to do when we understand our fundamental identity as a spirit soul and part of Lord. Then we can make the right choices based on that fundamental identity. That is one thing we discussed. That's how one way to make decisions. We'll discuss that topic more about making decisions. Then second broad thing we discussed is how we can remain undisturbed if our consciousness is bigger by focusing on service to Supreme like that. Not only then Krishna describes in this later part of the chapter, toward the last few verses of the chapter, that not only we can remain undisturbed while doing activities in this world, But at the end, when we fix our mind on Supreme at the end of the life, then we can go back to Supreme. So that also he describes again at the end of the chapter like that. So that means by cultivating, by understanding and realizing our identity as spirit soul, by cultivating the practices of bhakti towards Supreme Lord, we can progress to our ultimate goal. And while progressing towards ultimate goal, we remain undisturbed with difficult circumstances in this life currently, and then we can achieve ultimate success at the end of the life also. So that is one way of summarizing this chapter in a simple way for us. Yeah, I'll summarize this chapter in another way. This basically by looking at what are the questions Arjuna asked in the chapter 1 and chapter 2 beginning, and then how did Krishna address them in the chapter 2. There is another way to discuss this chapter overview. So this is the second viewpoint of the same chapter. So now Arjuna discussed in the beginning of the first chapter that, oh my God, I am compassionate. How can I kill my own family members? So it's not nice. They're my friends, they're my relatives. Like that, he was feeling compassion for them. Now, Krishna, in the beginning of the chapter 2, when he started speaking, after Arjuna surrendered to him as a disciple, Krishna told them, don't lament unnecessarily. Actually, you, me, all the people you are seeing here are all spirit souls. They're eternal. That means even if you fight in the battlefield, even if you kill them, their soul is not dying. Whereas the material body, even if you don't do anything, even if you don't kill them today, they'll die after a few years. That knowledge of Sankhya or Gnana, Krishna gives to explain that don't feel, don't show compassion on the material level like that. So Krishna is describing the fundamental identity to tell him that soul lives on. When the body dies, soul along with the subtle body, mind, intelligence and false ego goes to another body. That process is called transmigration of the soul. In fact, there is a scientific evidence of the soul. How? Not by seeing with a telescope or a microscope, not like that, but by the symptoms soul exhibits and by the different observations made scientifically in this world. For example, past life memories. And some people have behaviors that they did not learn in this life, but they learned some skill right at the young age. So that has come from the past life. So like that, there are scientifically proven evidences of past life memories and near-death experiences that prove the presence of the soul, apart from the presence of consciousness. Now, somebody may say, I don't believe if I cannot see anything. But then there are many things we cannot see. For example, I cannot hear sounds beyond certain frequency range, whereas dog can hear certain frequencies of sound, and a bat can hear another set of frequencies of sound. So just because I cannot hear, I cannot say that frequency of sound doesn't exist. Or just because I cannot see my mind, I cannot see my intelligence, I cannot say I don't have mind, I don't have any intelligence, right? There's so many things we cannot see, but they're existing. Similarly, there's a soul that is exhibited by consciousness. And Krishna gave several symptoms of the soul also in this section. Now, going on to the second reason Arjuna gave, he said, even if I win the war, even if I get the whole kingdom, how can I enjoy? There's nobody to enjoy with. Like that, he said. Krishna is telling the two things. We discussed briefly this point already. Krishna describes if you perform your dharma or prescribed duty of fighting, there will be enjoyment. If you win, you can get the kingdom you enjoy in the earth. But if you lose, remember Krishna in Kshatriyas, if they lose, that means they die. So if you lose, you will go to heavenly planet and enjoy. So no problems. Whether you win or lose doesn't matter. You're still enjoying. Then he says, but if you don't fight, what happens? Because then if you don't fight, you're not doing your duties. You're neglecting your prescribed duties. When you neglect your prescribed duties, then what happens? You incur sinful reactions to them. So then that is not good. You don't want to incur sinful reactions. That means you have to suffer if you incur sinful reactions. Then not only that, you'll lose your reputation as a great warrior, great fighter, and people will make you infamous. So it's not a good plan. If you want to enjoy nicely materially, then fight, you say. So Krishna is not giving the ultimate instruction yet. Krishna is giving a point in time instruction that even if you want material enjoyment, it's best to you fight like that. So this is why it is important to understand scriptures with a context. Because if somebody may say, see, Krishna is telling, when you're trying to do something, figure out this will give me enjoyment or this will give me enjoyment. That is only a first argument Krishna is giving. Later arguments Krishna tells is to understand the fundamental identity of spirit soul and what is in service to Supreme Lord, accordingly act, like that is telling. So that is the second answer basically. Now going to the third question that Arjuna raised, third reason for Arjuna not fighting. He said, how can he fight? Because I'll get sinful reactions. For example, if I fight against my grandfather and my teacher and my relatives, if I kill them, I'll develop sinful reactions, because scriptures say that even if you verbally offer a fight, then also it is sinful. So how can I do? How can I engage in fight? Then Krishna describing that actually all the sinful reactions or any kind of reactions you can avoid by performing your duty with knowledge and detachment from results. So here he started talking about Niskama Karma Yoga. So he's telling with detachment from results, you should fight. Then you'll not even get results at all. Not even get reactions, any reactions like that. So that is helpful for our ultimate progress in spiritual life also. So now we all heard about this principle of akarma. Akarma means there are multiple meanings of akarma. One meaning of akarma is not doing anything, inactivity. Another meaning of akarma is by doing the activity for pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then we don't incur any positive reactions or negative reactions also. So, number one. Number two, that means we're not incurring any new balance on karma account. Second thing is we'll burn off the previous karma we have also. That is the beauty of akarma, which we can learn through by reading this Bhagavad Gita, by understanding the principles of bhakti. We can learn how we can perform everything for pleasure of Krishna. So we are not bound by any kind of reactions like that. Then for the fourth reason Arjuna asked about destruction of family traditions. You remember in the last session we discussed this, how by fighting all the elders will go in the family, that means there will be nobody to guide the family members, then the woman will not be protected, then some people will take advantage of situation and exploit women, and then that will result to unwanted progeny, and the unwanted progeny means whatever they're supposed to do, like offering pinda to the forefathers, that will not happen. Whatever their rituals that are meant for gradual purification and upliftment, they will not happen. So that will lead to degradation, and I will go to hell like that he described. So now Krishna is describing through this that we can raise above the Vedic karma kanda by knowing the purpose of the Vedas. Don't just literally follow. Vedas say like this, I will do like that, just like that. Understand the overall essence of the Vedic knowledge. What is the foundation? Remember, Bhagavad Krishna says, Vedascha sarver ahameva vidya. Means I am to be known by learning Vedas, like that. When we understand the essence of the Vedic knowledge, then we know we're meant to serve Krishna. We're meant to develop relationship with Krishna. When we understand that essence, then even if you don't follow one small rule, then it doesn't matter much. So that's why Krishna is saying, be established in the knowledge and fight to set an example to others, like that he says. Then the last reason is from this chapter. Arjuna is saying, I don't know what to do, whether to fight or not fight. I'm not able to decide. Can you please tell me? Krishna is saying, be resolute in purpose with one aim. By having one pointed intelligence, he describes. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. We'll discuss this in detail, how to make decisions properly like that. How chapter 2 is giving us the clues for making decisions like that. We'll discuss that topic also coming up. So these are the 5 reasons Arjuna gave, and how Krishna dealt with them. Actually, each of this section is like 10 verses, 20 verses like that. But I just summarized it. This is also given by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu in Gita Subodhini book also. Yeah. Going to the next one. This one, how from chapter 2 we can learn one important principle, how to think differently. Because scripture knowledge like Bhagavad Gita helps us practically in our life to think differently. So thinking differently, meaning in the world, uh, people are affected by lower modes of passion and ignorance, and people are driven by this sense of I want to enjoy this way, I want to enjoy that way, I want to enjoy this way, like that. So in that passion, they first act, then think. So that means then they ask the questions, why, what is the purpose, why should I do this? They will ask after doing things. In fact, Chaitanya Prabhu describes nicely the 3 modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance in this context. How um, mode of ignorance person uh, acts, does something, and he doesn't know what did I do. He's not even figure out. He cannot even figure out what did he do, what happened, what just happened, like that. Mode of ignorance. And then mode of passion person is he'll do something very quickly. As soon as some idea comes, he does very quickly. But then he thinks, "Oh my God, why did you do that? I should have done the other way." Like that. Mode of passion. And mode of goodness person, when he gets the idea to do something, he'll think, if I do this, what is the impact on me? What is the impact on others? Does it lead to the result I want? Or it will backfire on me? Let me think carefully before I do it. That's the mode of goodness person. So this general thinking in the world is just do it, act first, and then ask questions later, like that. Because of that, what is happening is people are doing so many things. People are getting this, people are getting that, people are getting this, but they're still ultimately not happy because they're not thinking, who am I? What is my identity? I'm a spirit soul. I'm a part and parcel of Krishna. What will really give me happiness? They're not thinking. So they're doing this, getting that. But many of us don't get the happiness. That's still missing. So, but Bhagavad Gita is teaching us with the example of Arjuna, how before he fought in the battlefield, he's asking the questions first, asking the purpose. Why should I fight? What is the impact of me fighting? What will happen if I fight? What will happen if I not fight? He started thinking at least in the right direction. Of course, he needed guidance from Krishna, but still, he started asking the first before acting on it. So that is one more thing we can learn from Bhagavad Gita. We have to learn the purpose of life, learn the bigger purpose, bigger picture, why questions. Then, when we have that vision on the why we should do, then we can easily figure out the what and how. That is what is important. So that's the other lesson we can learn from this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, how we is teaching us to think differently. And then, remember, we already discussed about making decisions by learning our identity and by not being attached to fruits of the results, by working not for the fruits, but working from something bigger than the fruits, like that we already discussed. And that way we can remain undisturbed now, and also we can get a bigger result in the future, like that. Now, we are discussing another factor that will help in making decisions. There's a 4th dimension in making decisions. By the way, this is from Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Swami Maharaj, SB Keshav Swami Maharaj. He has a book called Gita 3. All these references are there in the last slide. So you can see, you can learn. Yeah. So now scientists say that there are so many decisions we make in every single day, 30,000 decisions in every single day, it seems. How is that? We're deciding, should I look outside or should I look at the computer? Should I wear green shirt? Should I wear a white shirt today? Should I drink water now or not drink water now? Should I eat now or should I eat after 10 minutes? Should I eat after 1 hour when my son comes? Or should I eat after half an hour when my daughter is ready? Like that, so many decisions we make. So people are categorized, you can categorize them into broad three categories. Some are very indecisive. That means they don't want to decide. Okay, I don't know what to do, whether to whether to go here or whether to go there. Okay, what should I do? What should I do? Like that only. They don't do anything. They just leave it indecisive. Then when somebody forces them, by 10 o'clock today, you need to go to this place, then they'll follow. That is indecisive category. Then impulsive category. Okay, I get the mood. I want to go today to this place. I want to go. It will be nice if I go to this place. Then I become impulsive. Yes, that's a good decision. Let me go now. I decide and go. That is the impulsive nature of making decisions. Then Arjuna was taking the middle road, not the indecisive road, not the impulsive road, but something in the middle, introspective. He was carefully considering whether I should do fight or not fight like that. But then Arjuna fell short in making decisions, being even though he was introspective, because all of us have certain limitations, certain capacity in making decisions. So the fourth dimension making decisions is to take inspiration from a higher source. So for that, it requires some proactiveness on our part to make a decision that I want to consult someone, consult a higher source, higher. That decision we need to be able to make. We'll talk about this also in the humility aspect. Basically, Arjuna had that humility to ask, go to a higher source, Krishna, and ask him. And Krishna, in his life, gave him the divine inspiration for him to make the right choices. Remember, Krishna didn't say, you do as I say. He said, now I'm giving you knowledge, you decide what you want to do, like that. Similarly, in our life, we can also take the divine inspiration. It's not that Krishna is sitting right in front of us to guide us, but Krishna has provided divine resources in our life to take inspiration from, that will guide our introspection. Introspection is a good thing, but it should be guided by higher sources, divine sources. What are those divine sources? The divine sources are Shastra, are divine books, uh, and divine guides are Guru and Sadhu, who can mentor us. They can guide us, who are in a higher position spiritually. And then super soul inspiration also. So we can take this spiritual inspiration from these three sources, then along with our introspection, that will help us to make decisions properly. So now the quality of our decisions depends on the depth of our connection to these three things. That means depth of our shastric knowledge, which comes through reading Srila Prabhupada books regularly, hearing classes regularly, and then from divine guides, connection comes from how regularly we are hearing from saintly personalities. Because in one sense, reading is also hearing, but reading gives us the tattva, the essential truths of knowledge it gives us. Whereas hearing from great personalities like our guru, great sadhus, that gives us perspectives and realizations that they're sharing with us. So, for example, what I was sharing about the overview of the second chapter in terms of understanding the fundamental identity to make the right decisions instead of depending on functional identity. I learned from hearing from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. Like that, when we hear from Guru and Sadhu, we can get the inspiration like that. That's a divine guides. And then super soul. When we are firmly situated in the fundamental identity and the desire to please Krishna, Krishna will inspire us from within. And then we can be tuned in. And then we can understand the inspiration coming from super soul also. So initially, in the initial stage of bhakti, we may not understand, is this coming from super soul or is this from my mind proposing something? That's where we have the divine guides and divine books. The idea that I got, is this aligning with the Shastra? Is this aligning with Guru? Is this aligning with Sadhu? Then we accept it. If it's not aligning, we don't accept it. Like that. That's where the role of mentor comes in. We can discuss with our mentor. This is the idea I got. What do you think? Is it good thing? Is it aligned with Shastra? Is it aligned with the Guru and Sadhu? Because at our level, we may not know. What is aligned with Sadhu? What is aligned with Guru? We do not know. That's why we have a mentor. We ask the mentor, can you please tell me, is this right thing to do? Is this favorable for my devotion service? Remember, one of the principles of Saranagati is Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Varjanam. Anukulasya Sankalpa means whatever is favorable for devotion service, accept it. And Pratikulasya Varjanam means whatever is not favorable for devotion service, reject it. So we may not have that understanding, but we need to be able to go to a higher source to understand that. Actually, that goes to the next point. If I'm in the mode, if I'm proud that I already know all this, I know Bhagavad Gita, I know Krishna, I know Arjuna, I know Mahabharata, I know Ramayana. If I'm in that mode, then I cannot learn anything from anybody. Be I go to the greatest guru, I cannot learn anything because I already think I know everything. Then I will not listen. Remember, knowledge goes from higher level to lower level. For example, water goes from higher level to lower level, right? Similarly, if I'm at a lower level to receive, then somebody can give me. But if I stay here, I know everything and you cannot teach me anything, they cannot give anything to us. So even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see this principle acting out nicely. So before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarma Bhattacharya, he gave him an elevated seat to sit, understanding that he is sannyasi. So theoretically, he accepted that he is higher than me. And then he listened to him. He initially thought he is going to teach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's how he started. But still, he gave an elevated position to him. But then he he heard from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on, and then he got transformed in his heart. Similarly, we need to have this, like Arjuna, how he turned towards Krishna. We should have this humility and we should have this understanding that I don't know everything. For example, if you draw a big circle, then what we know is a small portion of that big circle. And then uh, what we don't know is a second small circle inside that. Yeah. And that much bigger circle is what we don't know about what we don't know. That means some things we don't even know that we need to know. Like that. That's a very bigger circle. When we understand that, then we are in open mind to listen to somebody. Somebody may be starting in Krishna consciousness today, but he may share a beautiful realization that will help us to grow in Krishna consciousness fast. Somebody may be practicing Krishna consciousness, but they have so many bad qualities today. But they may share something that they realized in this life, or they heard from the scripture, they heard from their guru. That may benefit us so much. So when we develop this humility, remember in Bhagavad Gita, later chapters also will hear, humility is the first quality for understanding knowledge like that. So sometimes this is an obstacle for us to read Bhagavad Gita, to progress in Bhagavad Gita, applying Bhagavad Gita knowledge. So when we understand from Arjuna, we can learn from Arjuna that we should not think that we know everything. We also need higher guidance from a divine source. When we understand that, then in this journey that we are on in reading Bhagavad Gita regularly and learning it and applying in our life, we'll be in the right mood to learn from our seniors, from our guru, from sadhus. So that way we can apply it in our life properly. Yeah, I'll pause there. Yeah, this is a slide. I think this is a slide that has references I was referring to. So these are the credit goes to all of them. If you like something, credit goes to all these wonderful devotees. So if there are any mistakes, it's in my understanding only. So I'll pause there. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you have any comments or questions now, please feel free to share.
Thank you so much. So nice. It is so nice explanation. Thank you.
Welcome, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
Namaskar, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I was having a question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
We should. I came to know that when we should not act, we should not like what do you call, whatever karma we do, we are not supposed to have a fruitive act, like result, fruitive result. But when we are planning to go, we are chanting to go to Krishna Goloka, so that is not fruitive regarding that, Prabhuji. Fruitive
Yeah,
karma.
correct. That is not considered as fruitive because there is not something for us. Because when we are chanting to go to Krishna, we are trying to, even though we may not have it as the foreground currently, that I want to please Krishna, but Krishna is pleased because Krishna wants us, all of us, to be with him. Krishna wants all of us to relate with him, engage with him. So he's very pleased. So it's not considered as fruitive, Mataji. And at a higher stage of devotion, uh, when once we develop some love for Krishna, then we'll leave that thought also. I need to go there to spiritual world. That's why I need to chant. We will develop that love. I want to chant Krishna because I want to develop my relationship with you. Right now, I'm not understanding that I'm related to you. I don't have the realization that I'm part and parcel of you. I'm your servant. I want to chant so that I'll realize that. Once I realize that, I can serve you nicely. That relation will come. So as we practice, that is the beauty of bhakti. Yeah.
But how do we get that the taste, Prabhuji? Like,
Ah,
we are in a practicing stage. So how do
yes.
we get position?
Yeah. Taste comes by practice only. So the unlike bhakti practice is so beautiful. Actually, we can see so many devotees example. Even you might have experience also. So, for example, I did not like reading books at all in the beginning. So now, slowly, regularly, I read in a regulated way. I read every week this many pages like that, with the association of other devotees who already have some habit of reading, who like to read like that. Then slowly, after several years, I got some taste to read now. So like that, when we are chanting also, we may not have initial taste, but we pray to Krishna. Krishna, I really don't feel like chanting. I don't have any taste for chanting, but please help me. I want to chant because I heard my guru telling me that chant is good for you. Chant is pleasing to Krishna. So I want to please my guru. I want to please you. So let me chant now and give me some little taste if you so desire, so that I can chant even more nicely with the taste like that. With that prayer, we endeavor ourselves. And then what will happen is as we chanting, we purify ourselves. With that purification comes the taste also like that. That is one aspect. And there is another multiple aspects of this way to approach it. Another way is where Gaur Purnima is coming up and we celebrated Nityananda Trayodasi just recently. Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya are so pleased if we help somebody to chant one time or regularly chanting, or if we help somebody to start bhakti or continue in bhakti or grow in bhakti, they're so pleased. So when we do some seva like that, then that's how we can get taste also. Another thing is when we are with the devotees who have some taste, then we get taste also from them by association like that. These are few ways we can get taste, Madhuri, and depends upon the activity. For example, taste for hearing. Srimad Bhagavatam first and second chapter says, by serving Vaishnavas, those mat seva, those who are pure devotees, by serving pure devotees, we get taste like that. How do you serve pure devotees? It's simple. By hearing from them, by trying to understand what they're telling, by trying to follow in our life whatever we understand. That's how we're serving pure devotees also. Then we'll get taste for hearing. Like that, these are several aspects, Mati. Hope that makes sense to you.
Prabhuji, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare
You're most
Krishna.
welcome, Mati. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Please accept my humble Dhanavad Pranams to you all, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your comment. I mean, like, for your brief verification. I mean, like, discussion about this. Uh, um, so you helped me to realize, like, how we should not depend on our mind. Like, we should depend on Guru completely and Shastras. So that really, I mean, that whatever you told, that really helped me, Prabhu, to understand how we should not depend on our mind. That's generally until we got that purification in our heart, right? We don't know who,
Correct.
whether we in our heart we will think, okay, Krishna is telling to us, but we don't know, right?
Yes.
So
Very nice relation, Mati. Wonderful. Yeah.
thank you, Prabhu.
Welcome, Mati. Any other comments, relations, questions? If not, we can end here. Again, wish you all the best for your daily reading of Bhagavad Gita. Please read. And if you have any questions, you can ask questions anonymously also if you want, as I send the link in the group. Or you can ask me personally also, whatever works for you. So even if I don't know the answer, I will consult my senior devotees and give you the answer also, if you don't know something. So please feel free to read. And in a couple of days, I'll send you a quiz for the chapter 2. So you can try to answer it. Each question will have a verse like last time. So you can see the answer in the purport also. And then is open book questions. So open book, so you can see so that purpose of this test is for you to learn more deeper like that. So that is why you can go back and look at that section, then you will learn something more again like that. That's the purpose of quiz, not just to get score points and win a lottery or something like that, not win a prize or nothing like that. Yeah. So please try to attempt your quiz so you can learn more. And then we'll continue discussing. And next month we'll have a discussion again on third chapter, most likely on the fourth Thursday of the month. But I'll send you a message in the group. Yeah. Sri Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
did you send the part 2 of chapter 1? This quiz part 2 of chapter 1.
That's already sent, right?
Oh, you sent, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I can send you the link if you want to again.
Can you please send?
Yeah, I can send you the link again. Sure. Yeah. And then
Thank
chapter 2 quiz will come now. So, yeah. After
Yes.
tomorrow. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.